Kilkenny cat. The term Kilkenny cat refers to anyone who is a tenacious fighter. The origin of the term is now lost, so there are many stories purporting to give the true meaning. To fight like a Kilkenny cat refers to an old story about two cats who fought to the death and ate each other up such that only their tails were left. There is also a limerick, with optional added couplet, about the two cats. Origins. The story has many roots. The earliest suggested origin is that according to Irish legend, the monster cat Banghaischi each made its home in Dunmore Caves in Kilkenny County, about 6 miles north of Kilkenny City. A local version of the story tells that in the mid-17th century, Oliver Cromwell's soldiers tied the tails of all the cats in Kilkenny in pairs of 2 and hung them over a wire. The cats then fought until they had killed each other. The other origin from this time suggests it was a commentary on the lack of agreement within the Confederate Assembly during the Irish Confederate Wars. It is said to be an allegory on the disastrous municipal quarrels of Kilkenny and Irishtown, which lasted from the end of the 14th to the end of the 17th centuries. After the Statutes of Kilkenny, the city was divided into 2 boroughs called Irishtown and Englishtown. For religious, cultural and political reasons there were deep divisions between the two groups. This may lend itself to the story of two cats fighting. Because the rights and duties of the two townships hadn't been made clear by statute, this led to 3 centuries of dispute between the rival municipal bodies that ended in beggaring both of them. There is a passage in the Bible which bears a resemblance to the phrase and meaning in this usage, Galatians 5. Love your neighbor as yourself. If you bite and devour each other, watch out or you will be destroyed by each other. The story is told in 1807, as if by an Irish gentleman amongst a group of naval officers, about watching 2 cats fighting and pushing them into an enclosed area to see the outcome, only to have no remains but a tail. Versions were told in detail in notes and queries. In 1864 it was said that a group of German soldiers, Hessians, were stationed in Kilkenny during the period of the 1798 rebellion. To relieve the boredom in barracks, sadistic soldiers would tie 2 cats together by their tails, hang them over a washing line to fight and place bets on the winning cat. Gambling was contrary to military regulations. The story goes that the soldiers, alarmed by the impending arrival of an officer, released the cats by cutting their tails with a sword. When the officer arrived and inquired about the scene facing him, he was told that they've eaten each other up. It is claimed to be the invention of J.P. Curran. As a sarcastic protest against cockfighting in England, he declared that he had witnessed fights between trained cats, and that once they had fought so fiercely that only their tails were left. Another story has 1,000 Kilkenny cats fighting 1,000 cats from the rest of Ireland in a field outside Kilkenny City. All the cats died in battle. This may be a parable based on descents of the period between the people of the Kilkenny area and other parts of Ireland. 19th century usage. It appears in the Quarterly Review in 1822 in discussion of a lack of animal remains in a situation. In writing about Cephalonia in 1823, Charles James Napier comments in his letters how he hopes the French and Spanish will fight light like Kilkenny cats. There was a British cartoon of the cats, which appeared in Punch August 8, 1846, drawn by Richard Doyle and captioned. Up to 1847, Daniel O'Connell and Smith O'Brien were satirized in Punch as the Kilkenny cats. In writing about Cromwell in 1845, Thomas Carlyle references Kilkenny cats in Cromwell's letters, and in 1837 when describing the French National Constituent Assembly. Edward Gibbon Wakefield uses the phrase to describe colonial democracy in a view of the art of colonization, with present reference to the British Empire, in letters between a statesman and a colonist. As does Ebenezer R. Hoare talking about Edwin M. Stanton and Salmon P. Chase during their attempts to become Lincoln's Chief Justice. It is used as a phrase by General Grant during the American Civil War, and a cartoon was published of this. Mark Twain sarcastically treats the Kilkenny cats as a historical reference in his unflattering review of the Book of Mormon that was included in his 1872 book, Roughing It. He uses it to mock the Book of Mormon's unrealistic war of mutual extinction between rival factions of Jaredites, that ends, after several years and several million deaths, with one leader decapitating the other and no other survivors, except the prophet witnessing and recording the events. In popular culture and literature, a different legend is given by George Cruikshank in his omnibus published in 1841, which tells of 6 tomcats which ate first their owner and then each other. Parker Brothers published a board game named The Amusing Game of Kilkenny Cats in 1890. Although capturing opponents' pawns is permitted, The rules caution players that it can be self-defeating to engage in Kilkenny cat fights, because 2 of an initial 8 pawns are required to complete the game-winning objective. In 1907, poet Alfred Percival Graves wrote about the cats of Kilkenny, Kilkenny's wild cats. The inhabitants of County Kilkenny are often referred to as Kilkenny cats. The County Kilkenny hurling and Gaelic football team are well known as the Cats. The term Kilkenny cat is a clear influence on the Pogue song Wild Cats of Kilkenny. However, the song is instrumental only, so there is no reference to the phrase in the song, other than perhaps the somewhat feline screeching that opens the tune. In David Webber's Honor Harrington novel Echoes of Honor, wardens on the prison planet Hades use starvation of prisoners as an ultimate sanction for attempted insurrection, referring to each camp's subsequent self-destruction from cannibalism as a Kilkenny camp.